Who's coming to Canada? Nobody. Why? Because these shenanigans are going on and everyone knows about it. And so what company would want to come to Canada when there's some price fixing going on and it's not addressed?
Food, like life, can be complicated. That's why I'm on a quest to learn all about our food and the crimes, issues, and debates that are tied to it. I hope you'll join me on my quest to explore the dark side of dining. Have you noticed how grocery prices keep climbing? Even a measly loaf of white bread is almost twice what it cost just 20 years ago. And while some people may point to general economic trends as the culprit, sometimes that isn't the only thing affecting prices. While I hesitate to condone any sort of conspiracy theory, there is a certain kind of conspiracy that happens all over the place, and recently took center stage in Canada. Price fixing, the worst thing since sliced bread. I brought on food professor Sylvain Charlebois today to tell us all about it. Here's our conversation. This is a much more recent thing. It literally came up, I think, like after I contacted you for this interview, at least on my feeds, is bread price fixing.
Oh my goodness, it's been going on for years.
Yeah, well, I didn't see any articles until like after I'd reached out to you. I was like, oh, this is like a more current issue. But
it's a big problem.
Yeah,
big issue.
Could you kind of explain what has been happening with that? I'll
be as succinct as possible because it's been quite lengthy. It all started in 2001, if you can believe it. So allegedly, there was this bread price fixing scheme going on for 14 years, from 2001 to 2015. And apparently, or allegedly, 7 companies were involved. So in bakery, Canada Bread, Western Bakeries, and retail, you had Loblaw, Sobeys, Metro, Walmart, and Giant Tiger. Okay. So allegedly this was going on for 14 years. So in 2015, Loblaw went to the bureau to disclose, to become the whistleblower, essentially saying, you know what? We're guilty. We were part of this. And Western Bakeries were also part of this because we own Western Bakeries.
Right.
But by the way, the other 5 companies were also involved. So Loblaw threw all the 5 other companies under the bus. And so for 2 years, from 2015 to 2017, the investigation started without everyone knowing except Loblaw. So that's how it works, right? So 2 years after, in 2017, Loblaw decided to make a public announcement saying that there was this thing going on and we regret it. Sorry, here's $25. So you could actually apply for a $25 gift certificate. And 3.8 million people got it. You had to apply for it, basically, and give your address. So that was in 2017. Since then, and the investigation is still ongoing. Since then, Canada Bread, which was owned by Maple Leaf Foods during the period 2001 to 2015, was sold off to the Mexican group Grupo Bimbo, and they own Canada Bread now. They actually accepted responsibility, and that was 2 years ago, paying a $50 million fine. So that was in 2023, the highest fine in history, $50 million. So now you have 3 companies admitting guilt and 4 companies still under investigation. Recently, what we learn is that Loblaw has agreed to a payout of $500 million. And so that's including the gift certificates given in 2017 of $25 times 3.8 million people. That's $96 million. So courts decided that the balance, $404 million, will be given out to Canadians, essentially. So that's what we're at right now. But after 10 years, the investigation is still ongoing. We're still wondering what's going on with Giant Tiger, Walmart, Metro, and Sobeys. And we don't know exactly where it's going to go. But what we are expecting next is to know exactly how that money is going to be dispersed.
Interesting.
Yeah.
So what kind of impact do price fixing schemes like this have on the average consumer? Like, I mean, it's understandable you want to make a profit, but obviously this probably has some sort of toll on the public in general, right?
There's nothing wrong making a profit, but don't break the law. And that's what they did. They broke the law.
Interesting.
And in the United States, when executives do something like that, they find executives, they throw them in jail, for months. There was one case of canned tuna in the U.S. The CEO actually went to jail for 40 months and paid a fine of $100,000. In Canada, we grant immunity to companies who actually, so both Loblaw and George Weston bakeries receive immunity and participated in the investigation. So the approach is completely different. But I mean, consumer trust hangs in the balance. I mean, you can easily say, and I'm concerned about beef prices right now, to be honest. I mean, if bread was impacted by price fixing, what else is impacted by price fixing at the grocery store? Yeah. And frankly, right now, beef is becoming more expensive, but it's beyond what we were expecting. So I do have some questions about that, but you have to get to the bottom of it. You have to get to the data, and it's hard to get to the data unless you have a mandate to get to these companies and get to the actual data of costs and everything else.
Yeah. So what advice would you give to people to try and be more aware of or counter this kind of stuff? Like, is there anything that the average person can do?
Well, I mean, first of all, because I get comments almost like every week about price fixing and gouging and profiteering, and a lot of people will say, "Oh, I saw mayonnaise sold in one store and the same exact pot of mayonnaise being sold in another store on the same street at a different price." And so clearly there's gouging going on. And I said, that's not how it works. Okay. Markets will cater to a different market dynamic. And so this one store may be servicing a different market than the other one. And frankly, and I always say that to consumers, if you see all the mayonnaise sold at the same price everywhere in Canada, that's a worse problem. That's a much worse problem. It means that there's absolutely price fixing going on for sure. So you gotta understand markets. So that's the one advice I would say to before accusing, before looking into, misbehaviors, just understand how markets work, and then pay attention. Pay attention to increases. Pay attention to what's going on between categories, for example, between brands and things like that. Unlike gas, because I know gas, it's been pointed out as the quintessential, model for price fixing. Grocery stores are complicated. You got 20 to 40,000 different products. It's really different. So you got to pay attention as much as possible. But we have our suspicions around, meat counter economics certainly is one. We've got some issues with canned products. Canned products is certainly one other area where we're suspicious, but it's tough to actually prove anything when there's collusion going on.
Interesting. So do you have any other comments or things you want to mention about like price fixing before we kind of end this part?
It needs to be addressed because right now Loblaw is expanding in the US. So TNT, which is owned by Loblaw, is about to open its 6th store in the US. Who's coming to Canada? Nobody. Okay. Why? Because these shenanigans are going on and everyone knows about it. And so what company would want to come to Canada when there's some price fixing going on and it's not addressed? There's price fixing everywhere.
Yeah.
But you see, in the United States, they take it very seriously. Former President Biden went after meat packing. And since then, we've seen several checks written to Washington by companies like GBS as As of February, GBS, a major Brazilian player, actually paid a $83.5 million fine to Washington because they were accused of price fixing. They settled out of court. So the pressure is not the same there. And frankly, we need to do the same in order to reassure new players and increase competition.
Interesting. Yeah, that totally makes sense that, if everybody's in a club over here doing the price fixing, it's hard to get in there. Yeah.
There's a club. And if you, I interact with these grocers all the time. If you go to Loblaw's head office, you'll have former Sobeys executives. And if you go to Sobeys, you'll have former Metro executives. And it's just
to just trade amongst each other.
Oh, yeah. Huh. So you got to be forceful as a regulator.
Due to poor regulation and cooperation, bread price fixing ran rampant in Canada. And while it's now been brought to the light, a whole lot of change still needs to happen to allow a better market. Not just for bread, but for food in general. So we need to pay attention and keep people accountable for what they do in this market. If we can manage this, we might just get prices that are the best thing since sliced bread. The Dark Side of Dining is a production of Food for Thought Audio. This episode was written, produced, and edited by me, Kenny Mears. Sylvain Charlebois is a professor at Dalhousie University in Nova Scotia, Canada. You can find him on X at Food Professor or on Facebook or Instagram as Sylvain Charlebois, as well as on his podcast, The Food Professor. Links will be included in the show notes. Be sure to follow us on Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, or wherever you get your podcasts. And as always, thanks for your messages. We read them all, and thanks for listening.